The National Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual and Transgender Committee.
Deirdre Costigan, National Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual and Transgender Group, moving 31.2. Conference, I want to remind you of the title of this motion, Rebuilding Local Democracy. Because it doesn't sound like the most obvious thing for the LGBT section of a trade union to be interested in. But in fact, it's absolutely vital to us as workers and as users of public services. LGBT people in particular rely on local public services. A well-stocked library, an inclusive youth group, a sympathetic housing officer. These services can literally save vulnerable LGBT people's lives. Our union has campaigned for years so that local services reflect the needs of diverse communities, and so the workers delivering those services are treated fairly. Now, in some ways, you have to admire the Tories. They don't mess about. They want to radically change the role of local government. So they've slashed the funding to local councils, leading to shared services, commissioning and privatisation, exactly as they planned. Now, some might say, where's the harm? Does it really matter who the provider is? And that's where democracy comes in. The LGBT group strongly believes that public services should be accountable to the public. So if we aren't happy with the services, if service users or workers aren't being treated fairly, we can tell our elected representatives in person or via the ballot box. Not via a Capita call centre in another country or a G4S email address on another universe. Because only by having services that are democratically controlled can we ensure that all our communities, women, disabled, black and LGBT people, get the services they need. So conference, we need to use the research undertaken by UNISON, including the LGBT group's groundbreaking report on the impact of the cuts on LGBT people, to unmask the Tories' attack on local government funding as a nasty ideological attempt to bludgeon councils into giving up democratic control of vital services that save lives. Now, the LGBT group have produced simple leaflets which explain the evidence from our research. I've got one here. My photo's on it, which is a bit embarrassing. So I'm a UNISON model on a 0 hours contract. We'll be using these leaflets at community events at the scores of prides that we attend up and down the country. Branches can do this too, using our materials to make the case to local councils and to the public that local, publicly accountable services are worth preserving. You can also use these leaflets to recruit LGBT members to UNISON, because the greater our density, the greater our chances of putting the brakes on cuts, privatisation, outsourcing, shared services, commissioning, whatever you call it. It's the slow death of local democracy. Conference, there is still time. We can save these local services that save lives. Let's work together to make sure that an inclusive youth group isn't replaced with a cheap website, to make sure that sympathetic housing officer isn't tupied to G4S, and to make sure that well-stocked library isn't turned into a Starbucks. I move.